The Clever Rabbit and the Lion, a powerful African folktale about wisdom. Long ago, across a vast savanna stretching as far as the eye could see, the animals lived in constant fear. The grass shimmered golden under the morning sun, and the wind whispered softly through the tall blades, carrying the scent of earth and dew. Yet even in this beauty, a shadow loomed, one that made every creature tremble. That shadow belonged to the lion. He was enormous, his golden mane glinting in the sunlight, his muscles rippling with every movement. His roar rolled across the plains like thunder, a sound that could make even the bravest animal's legs quiver. From dawn until dusk, he hunted without mercy, picking his victims carefully, striking fear into the hearts of all. As the sun rose higher, the animals cautiously approached the waterhole. A herd of antelope grazed near the edge, heads low, ears twitching nervously. "This will be my turn today, won't it?" whispered a young fawn to her mother. The mother lowered her eyes, her ears flicking. "Be still, don't breathe too loudly, the lion may be watching." Nearby, a family of rabbits huddled together, their tiny hearts pounding. Even the birds in the trees above, usually so carefree, perched silently, wings folded tightly, watching the ground below. Every rustle, every crack of a twig made them startle. The tortoise, slow and deliberate as ever, moved along the riverbank. He had seen lions before, but today he noticed something different. The air felt heavier, charged with fear. "Even the wind is cautious," he muttered to himself. His heavy shell reflected the sunlight, but it offered little protection against the looming danger. In the distance, the lion appeared, stepping gracefully but deliberately toward the waterhole. Each paw sank into the soft earth, leaving deep impressions behind. The animals froze, sensing the inevitable. Even the small mouse on the edge of the grass shivered as the ground vibrated beneath the lion's approach. "He comes again," whispered a monkey from a nearby tree branch. "I saw him yesterday take a gazelle in one bite," added another. Fear rippled through the group like a wave, spreading from one animal to the next. But amidst the terror, one small figure observed quietly. The rabbit, tiny and seemingly fragile, watched the lion closely. His whiskers twitched as his mind worked furiously. "If strength will not save us, then cleverness must," he thought to himself. "Perhaps even the mighty lion can be outwitted." The lion crouched near the water, scanning the animals with piercing amber eyes. He roared long and low, a sound that echoed across the plains, vibrating through the trees and sending ripples across the water. The birds fluttered in panic, the antelope bolted for cover, and the rabbits ducked under tall grass, trembling. And yet the rabbit remained still, unblinking, plotting. His mind raced through ideas, analyzing every movement of the lion, every reaction of the other animals, searching for an opportunity. A plan began to take shape, small but daring, like a spark catching dry grass. Finally, the animals retreated further, realizing there was nothing they could do except wait. All except the rabbit. He took a deep breath, his tiny chest rising and falling with determination. "I may be small," he whispered, "but even the smallest can have the cleverest mind. I will try and I will not fail." And with that, the stage was set for the rabbit to take the first step in a plan so daring, so clever, that it would change the fate of every animal in the savannah. The animals gathered under the largest baobab tree in the savannah. Its massive trunk cast a cool shadow across the parched earth, and the branches stretched high into the sky, offering the only place of relative safety. The elephant, the wisest of the animals, stood at the center. His eyes, deep and solemn, scanned the fearful faces around him. "Friends," he said in a voice both calm and commanding, "we can no longer live in fear. The lion grows stronger and our numbers are dwindling. We must act." A murmur ran through the crowd. The deer lowered their heads, tails twitching. The birds whispered anxiously from the branches above. The tortoise moved slowly into the circle, his heavy shell scraping softly against the dry grass. "But how?" squeaked a tiny mouse, her voice shaking. "How can we stop him? He is the strongest of all creatures. None of us could hope to face him." The giraffe bent his long neck and nodded toward the animals. "He is not only strong, he is clever. We need more than strength, we need strategy." The lion's roar echoed faintly in the distance, and the animals flinched as if the sound had reached into their very bones. Some pressed closer together, while others trembled at the thought of their next encounter. Then from the edge of the circle, the rabbit stepped forward. He was small, almost invisible among the larger animals, but his eyes shone with intelligence and determination. "I may be tiny," he said softly, "but perhaps my size is my advantage. A clever mind can do what strength alone cannot. Let me try." The animals exchanged skeptical glances. A warthog snorted. "You, a little rabbit, you think you can outwit the lion." The monkey in the branches chattered nervously. "Even if he is clever, can he really trick the king of beasts?" The rabbit's ears twitched as he thought quickly. "Yes," he said softly but firmly. "Even the strongest can be fooled by a clever plan. I will speak to him and I will make him believe something that he cannot ignore. If I succeed, the savannah will be free." The elephant lowered his head, his great eyes thoughtful. "Very well," he rumbled. "We will trust in your cleverness, but tread carefully. One wrong move and we may lose more than just our courage." The rabbit nodded. "I understand. I will not fail." For hours, the animals discussed their fears and hopes, the council stretching long into the afternoon. The wind shifted, rustling the grass, carrying the scent of the distant lion. Every crack of a twig in the distance made the animals flinch. And all the while, the rabbit silently mapped out his plan, rehearsing his words, timing each step perfectly. Finally, as the sun dipped low and painted the sky with shades of gold and crimson, the animals dispersed. Each returned to their hiding places, still trembling but filled with a glimmer of hope. Only the rabbit remained, crouched beneath the baobab, whispering to himself. "The lion is strong, yes, but pride is his weakness, and cleverness is mine." With that thought, he set off, hopping quietly through the tall grass, ready to face the lion, to trick him, and to save the savannah from fear. The sun hung low over the savannah, casting long shadows that stretched across the golden grass. The rabbit moved carefully, his tiny paws brushing against the earth, each step calculated and deliberate. Every rustle of the grass, every chirp of a distant bird could alert the lion, and he knew it. As he neared the lion's den, the air seemed to thrum with power. The ground vibrated with each step the lion took, and the smell of wild musk filled the rabbit's nostrils. But the clever rabbit did not falter. He whispered to himself, "Keep calm, speak wisely. Pride can be manipulated and I will use it." The lion emerged from his den, massive and imposing. His golden mane shimmered in the fatting sunlight, and his amber eyes fixed on the rabbit, sharp and curious. "Who dares approach me?" he growled, his deep voice rolling across the plains. The rabbit froze, measuring each word. One wrong move and he would become a meal. "Oh, mighty lion," the rabbit began, bowing low, "I come with news of a threat, a rival lion who challenges your reign. He waits in the east, stronger and faster than any you have faced." The lion's ears twitched and his tail lashed against the ground. "Speak carefully, little one, what nonsense is this?" The rabbit's heart pounded, but he did not waver. "This rival lion," he said, his voice calm but firm, "has heard of your strength and your rule. He dares to claim the plains as his own. If you do not meet him, you risk losing everything." The lion's eyes narrowed. Where is this lion?" he demanded. "He waits in the deep well beyond the river," said the rabbit. "He is clever too, but not as clever as you. Only you can stop him." The lion's pride flared, and he let out a low growl, his chest swelling. "No one will challenge me," he roared. "Lead me to this intruder, little rabbit. Show me this so-called rival." The rabbit's whiskers twitched in excitement and fear. This was the moment he had been waiting for. The lion's pride had been hooked, and the rest was up to him. He led the lion carefully through the tall grass, weaving between rocks and trees, pausing occasionally as if to let the lion gather his strength. All around, the savannah seemed to hold its breath. The birds above flitted nervously from branch to branch, watching the unfolding drama with wide eyes. Even the breeze seemed to pause, carrying the scent of the approaching danger and the cleverness that followed closely behind. The rabbit slowed near a deep, dark well, its waters still and mysterious. "Here," he said softly, "is where your rival waits. Look into the water and judge for yourself." The lion leaned over, his reflection glimmering in the water. At first he saw only his own image, but the rabbit had timed it perfectly. The light, the shadows, the slight ripple in the water made the reflection seem alive, as if another lion was staring back at him. The rabbit crouched nearby, watching, his heart thudding in his tiny chest. Now, he whispered to himself, watch pride become its own undoing. The lion circled the well, roaring and growling, testing the rival before him. His reflection mimicked every movement, and with each motion his confusion grew. The rabbit stayed silent, letting the tension stretch, building the suspense to its breaking point. And then, just as the sun dipped behind the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and crimson, the lion made his move. The rabbit hopped lightly over the tall golden grass, his tiny paws making barely a sound. Behind him, the lion's massive paws pounded the earth, shaking the ground with each step. The contrast was stark, one small, quiet, careful, the other enormous, loud, and threatening. The rabbit paused, glancing back over his shoulder at the lion. The lion's amber eyes glimmered with a mix of curiosity and rage. "You move quickly, little one. Do not think I will lose my patience," the lion growled. The rabbit's whiskers twitched and he replied calmly, "I only lead you to your rival, mighty king. He waits, but he is clever and strong. One wrong step and even a lion can be caught unaware." The lion's pride flared at the thought of being challenged. His chest rose, muscles tensed, and he followed more closely, his claws digging into the earth as he moved. The rabbit slowed, hopping around small rocks, weaving through clusters of shrubs. "The rival lion hides his lair well," the rabbit explained, his voice steady. "You must trust me if you wish to confront him successfully." The lion snorted, a puff of golden mist in the air, but followed without question. Inside, he felt a mix of pride and unease. How can a rabbit know such secrets? He wondered, glancing around. But he did not hesitate. Pride would not allow him to retreat. As they approached the well, the rabbit paused at the edge of a clearing. The water shimmered in the last rays of the sun, dark and mysterious, as if holding secrets of its own. "This is it," the rabbit whispered. "Your rival awaits you here." The lion leaned over, growling low, scanning the still water. His reflection stared back, rippling slightly in the evening breeze. The rabbit had chosen this exact moment, when the light and shadows would make the reflection appear alive, almost breathing. "Do you see him?" the rabbit asked softly, hopping slightly from side to side. "He watches you, he challenges your strength. Only by confronting him can you prove your reign." The lion's eyes narrowed. He crouched, muscles coiled, preparing to leap. He growled, circling the well, each step measured, each paw scratching the dirt as though testing the ground. The tension stretched, every second feeling like an eternity. The rabbit crouched nearby, his heart racing with excitement and fear. "This is it," he whispered. "Every move must be perfect. Patience is strength, cleverness is power." The lion bared his teeth, his reflection glimmering in the water. For a moment he hesitated, unsure. Then, with a roar that shook the surrounding trees and sent birds fluttering into the twilight sky, he made his move. The rabbit crouched at the edge of the well, his tiny chest rising and falling rapidly. The savannah stretched behind him, golden in the fading sunset, but all focus was on the still, dark water before him. The lion, massive and furious, circled the well. His amber eyes locked on the water's surface. At first, he saw only his reflection, but the clever rabbit had chosen this moment perfectly. The shifting light, the soft ripples, and the shadows of the surrounding trees made the reflection appear alive, like another lion glaring back with equal pride and challenge. The lion froze, he tilted his head, growling low. The reflection mirrored every movement, and the illusion became undeniable. "Impossible," he bellowed. "There is another lion daring to challenge me." The rabbit's ears twitched with excitement, yet he stayed perfectly still. He had to let the lion make the first move. Patience was key. The lion crouched, muscles coiled like springs, his claws scratching the dirt. He roared again, louder this time, echoing across the plains. "I will crush you, rival. I am the king of this savannah." He lunged forward. The reflection lunged back. The lion slammed into the water, his massive paws striking nothing but liquid. For a heartbeat he floated confused, the rabbit's eyes sparkled, he had done it. But the lion was too proud to retreat. He leapt again and again, striking at the reflection, each time missing and falling deeper into the well. Water splashed, cascading down the sides of the stone well, droplets glittering in the last rays of the sun. The sound of the lion's roars mixed with the splash of water echoed across the plains, sending flocks of birds scattering into the sky. The animals in the distance held their breath, peeking cautiously from behind trees and rocks, wondering what would happen next. The lion thrashed wildly, trying to climb out, but the walls of the well were steep and slippery. His reflection danced mockingly on the water's surface, and he could do nothing but roar in frustration. The rabbit, still at the edge, remained calm. Sometimes pride can be the greatest weakness, he whispered to himself. Finally, exhausted and defeated, the lion sank to the bottom, water lapping around him. The well was silent except for the gentle ripple of the water and the soft sighs of relief from the animals watching from afar. The rabbit hopped back, his small heart still racing. He looked across the plains at the gathering of animals, now emerging from their hiding places. They stared in awe, their fear replaced by astonishment and newfound hope. The tiny rabbit, the cleverest of all, had outwitted the mightiest lion. For a long moment, no one moved. The savannah stood still, as though the land itself was holding its breath. The rabbit remained frozen near the well, listening. No thunderous footsteps. No shaking ground. Only the faint sound of water gently settling back into calm. From behind tall grass, the antelope peeked out. From the branches above, the birds leaned forward. Even the wind seemed to slow, brushing softly through the grass. Then came a sound no one expected. Not a roar of dominance, but a distant, muffled growl. The lion was trapped. The animals exchanged cautious glances. Could it truly be over? Could the terror that haunted their days and nights finally be gone? The rabbit took a careful step back from the well. His heart still raced, but his mind was clear. He had known this moment would come. Cleverness had done what strength never could. Below, the lion struggled. He clawed at the stone walls, his powerful muscles straining. But the well was deep. Too deep for pride to climb out of. Each attempt ended the same way. Slipping. Falling. Frustration. For the first time, the king of beasts felt helpless. Slowly, cautiously, the animals began to emerge from their hiding places. One by one. A head appearing from behind a rock. Eyes peeking through tall grass. Wings fluttering as birds descended from the trees. The elephant stepped forward first. He approached the well and listened. The lion's voice echoed faintly from below, no longer commanding, no longer feared. "It is done," the elephant said quietly. A wave of disbelief washed over the animals. Then relief. Then joy. The monkeys chattered excitedly. The antelope danced in place. The birds filled the air with joyful cries. And in the center of it all stood the rabbit. Small. Dusty. Silent. The animals turned toward him. The one who had dared to do what none of them could. "You saved us," whispered a young deer. "You faced the lion when we could not," said the tortoise slowly. The rabbit lowered his head. "It was not bravery alone," he said. "It was patience. It was observation. It was knowing that even the strongest have weaknesses." As the celebration settled, the sun dipped fully below the horizon. The sky deepened into shades of purple and blue, stars blinking awake one by one. The animals gathered once more beneath the baobab tree. But this time there was no fear in their eyes. Only gratitude. And reflection. The elephant spoke again. "Let this be a lesson to us all," he said. "Strength may rule for a time, but wisdom shapes the future." The rabbit listened quietly as the animals spoke. They spoke of fear. Of courage. Of how cleverness, when used wisely, could protect an entire community. And somewhere far below, the lion listened too. Trapped in darkness, his pride dissolved by his own reflection. For the first time, he understood what power without wisdom could cost. From that day forward, the savannah changed. The animals moved freely once more. Children played near the waterhole. birds sang without fear. And whenever the night grew quiet and the stars shone bright, the animals would gather to tell stories. They told of the lion who ruled with fear. They told of the rabbit who ruled with wisdom. They told of the day cleverness defeated strength. And the rabbit, he returned to his simple life. Still small, still quiet, still thinking. Because in the world of folktales, the cleverest minds are never loud. They are patient. They observe. And when the moment is right, they change everything. If you enjoy stories like this, stories filled with wisdom, suspense, and timeless lessons, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this story with someone who loves powerful folktales. More stories are waiting to be told.